Have you ever found yourself in a moment where everything just seems to go wrong? Like the universe has decided to throw one obstacle after another your way, just to see how far you'll bend before you break. Maybe it's a bad day at work, a misunderstanding with a friend, or something as simple as a missed train. Whatever it is, we've all been there. Frustration feels like it's lurking around every corner, waiting to strike when we least expect it. But here's the thing, frustration doesn't have to control you. It doesn't have to be the storm that takes away your peace. You can learn to handle it with ease, to let it come and go without it owning your day. If you're tired of feeling trapped in your frustration, wondering how to break free, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to explore not just ways to handle frustration, but how to transform it into a tool for growth. Yes, you can learn to master it, just like the ancient Stoics did. Let's dive into some powerful Stoic practices that will change the way you view frustration, and by the end of this video, you'll have the mindset of a Stoic warrior, ready to face any challenge without losing your peace. Before we dive in, though, if you're new to this channel, I want to challenge you to do something. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss an opportunity to transform your mind. We're building a community here, people who are committed to growth, to learning, and to living their lives with purpose and intention. So if that sounds like something you're into, don't hesitate to join us. Now let's begin. The first Stoic practice that can help you handle frustration is focusing on your circle of control. It's easy to get caught up in what's outside our control, the traffic, the weather, other people's behavior, and so much more. But the Stoics taught us something crucial. The only thing you truly have control over is your response. You can't change the rain, but you can choose to carry an umbrella. You can't stop someone from cutting in front of you in line, but you can decide how you respond to that act. The key is to shift your mindset. Instead of wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable, redirect your focus to what you can influence: your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Next time you find yourself stuck in traffic, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you can't change the situation, but you can control how you react to it. Use that time to reflect, to breathe, or even to listen to an audiobook. It's a game changer when you realize that most of your frustration comes from trying to control things that are beyond your reach. Once you start practicing this principle, you'll feel lighter, more at peace, and more in charge of your own happiness. Imagine how different life would be if we all practiced this. No more road rage, no more unnecessary stress, and no more getting upset over things that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. So remember, focus on what you can control and let go of the rest. Your peace of mind will thank you for it. The second Stoic practice is to zoom out for perspective. Life can feel overwhelming, especially when things don't go as planned. You may miss a meeting, get a bad review at work, or have a falling out with a friend. In these moments, it's easy to feel like the world is falling apart. But when you zoom out, you'll realize that in the grand scheme of things, this moment is just a blip on the radar. This practice is all about changing your perspective. Think of it like a camera zooming out. What seems like a big deal right now might look entirely different when you take a step back and look at it from a larger point of view. Imagine you're in outer space, looking at the Earth. Everything seems small, doesn't it? Our problems are much the same. They can feel huge when we're in the middle of them, but when we pull back, we can see that they're not as overwhelming as they first seemed. Think about it. Are you really going to let a flat tire ruin your whole day? Of course not. Is missing a flight really the end of the world? Number. But it's easy to forget that when we're right in the thick of things, with emotions running high, next time you're feeling frustrated, take a step back. Zoom out and ask yourself, is this really that important in the grand scheme of life? More often than not, you'll realize that it isn't, and suddenly, that frustration loses its grip on you. I want you to remember something. Life is full of ups and downs, and you can't control everything. But what you can control is how you choose to respond. Practicing this Stoic perspective helps you step outside the chaos and find peace within yourself. When you realize that your frustration is temporary and that there's a bigger picture, it's much easier to let go of it. The third practice is perhaps one of the most powerful. Embrace the power of now. We live in a world that's obsessed with the future. We're constantly planning ahead, striving for more and worrying about what comes next. But in the process, we often lose touch with the present moment, and frustration often arises from this. You're frustrated about something that hasn't even happened yet, or upset about something that happened in the past. The Stoics tell us that true happiness comes from enjoying the present, not from worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. When you center yourself in the present, you take back your power. You stop living in the what-ifs and should-haves and start living in the what-is. And here's the truth. The present moment is all you really have. It's where your power lies, and it's where your peace lives. When you catch yourself spiraling into frustration, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what can I do right now? What can I control in this moment? The key is to focus on the now. When you do this, frustration will melt away, because you're no longer letting your mind wander into the realm of possibilities and worries. Instead, you're grounded in the present, where you can take action and find clarity. I know it's not always easy, especially with everything pulling at your attention. But by consciously choosing to be present, you'll begin to experience life with more peace and less frustration. It's like hitting a reset button for your mind. Practice being in the moment, and you'll notice how much more peaceful and centered you feel. The next Stoic practice is to audit and manage your desires. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The Stoics believed that much of our frustration comes from wanting things we can't have, or from chasing after desires that don't truly bring us happiness. We all know the feeling. You want a new car, a bigger house, or more money, but even when you get those things, the satisfaction fades away, and you're left wanting more. The Stoics taught us that desires can be classified into two categories: natural desires and vain desires. Natural desires are those things we need for survival: food, shelter, and safety. Vain desires, on the other hand, are things that are driven by ego and social comparison, money, fame, and status. The key to reducing frustration is to focus on the natural desires that truly contribute to your well-being, and to let go of the vain desires that only lead to emptiness. Take a moment to reflect. What are your desires? Are they aligned with your true values, or are they influenced by society's expectations or the need for validation? When you start to align your desires with what truly matters to you, you'll notice a shift. You'll stop chasing things that don't bring fulfillment, and you'll free yourself from the cycle of frustration. The next Stoic practice is one that might seem counterintuitive at first, but it's incredibly transformative. Practice negative visualization. Now, hear me out. Negative visualization doesn't mean being pessimistic or expecting the worst. It means taking a moment to imagine the worst-case scenario so you can better appreciate what you have in the present and reduce your frustration when things don't go as planned. The Stoics understood that life is unpredictable. Things can change in an instant, and what we have today might not always be guaranteed tomorrow. So they practiced negative visualization, imagining the worst possible outcome of a situation, not to dwell on it, but to be prepared for it. When we do this, it actually helps us become less attached to outcomes and more at peace with whatever comes our way. For example, let's say you're feeling frustrated about a work project. You might be stressing over deadlines, the quality of your work, or what others might think. Now take a moment and think, what if, just for a moment, you imagine things not going perfectly? Maybe the project gets delayed, or your boss doesn't like it. Rather than letting that thought spiral you into frustration, use it to accept the worst-case scenario. Then ask yourself, can I still handle this? The answer is often yes. When you take away the fear of failure, you create space for peace. You begin to realize that the worst possible outcome isn't the end of the world, and you can handle whatever comes your way. This practice shifts your focus. Instead of letting frustration build over things you can't control, negative visualization gives you the mental resilience to handle anything. You begin to appreciate what you have now, rather than stressing over what you might lose. And when things do go wrong, because they will at times, you'll already be mentally prepared, so it won't hit you as hard. The Stoic principle of acceptance ties into this perfectly. You might have heard it before. Accept what you cannot change. It sounds simple, but it's often harder to practice than we think. Life is full of moments that frustrate us, moments where things go off course, where people don't act the way we expect, or where we face setbacks. But here's the key. Frustration arises when we fight against reality. The Stoics teach us to stop struggling against the things we can't control. We can't change the past, and we can't change other people's actions. The sooner we accept this, the sooner we release the frustration that comes with trying to change the unchangeable. Instead of wishing for things to be different, we learn to accept them as they are. Not in a passive way, but in a way that frees us from emotional turmoil. This doesn't mean giving up on our goals or giving in to defeat. It means acknowledging what is and working with it, rather than fighting against it. So next time you're facing a frustrating situation, pause and ask yourself, what am I trying to change here that I can't? Is it the past, the behavior of others, the way things turned out? If so, it's time to practice acceptance. Take a deep breath, let go of the resistance, and focus your energy on what you can control. You'll find that by releasing your attachment to the way things should be, you'll actually feel more peaceful and less frustrated. Gratitude is another crucial practice for handling frustration. When frustration builds, it often comes from focusing on what's wrong, what's missing, or what's not going right. But if you shift your focus to what's going well, what you're thankful for, you'll immediately feel a shift in your mindset. This isn't about ignoring the challenges you're facing or pretending everything is perfect. It's about bringing balance to your perspective. The Stoics were big on practicing gratitude, even in difficult times. They understood that no matter how tough life gets, there is always something to be grateful for. When you make gratitude a habit, it rewires your brain to focus on the positives rather than the negatives. This simple shift can radically reduce frustration because suddenly you're no longer consumed by everything that's going wrong. Instead, you're aware of the things that are going right, and you begin to see the silver linings. Take a moment right now to think about what you're grateful for. Maybe it's the roof over your head, your health, or the people in your life. Maybe it's just the fact that you woke up today. Whatever it is, focus on it. Embrace that sense of gratitude and notice how it shifts your energy. The more you make gratitude a part of your daily life, the easier it becomes to navigate frustration. You begin to realize that frustration is just a moment, not the whole story. And this leads to the next practice, embracing discomfort. This one might be a little tough to swallow, but stick with me. We live in a culture that avoids discomfort at all costs. We want comfort, pleasure, and ease. But the Stoics knew that true growth often comes from stepping outside of our comfort zones. When we avoid discomfort, we live in a bubble that's fragile. Any little disruption, any small frustration can send us into a tailspin. But when we learn to embrace discomfort, we stop being afraid of it. We stop letting small setbacks control our emotions. Instead, we begin to see discomfort as an opportunity for growth. Whether it's physical discomfort, emotional discomfort, or mental discomfort, embracing it teaches us resilience. Think about it. How many times have you gotten frustrated over something small, something that in the grand scheme of life doesn't really matter? Maybe it's a comment someone made, or a minor inconvenience. But when you embrace discomfort and stop fearing it, you learn to handle these moments with calmness. You build mental strength, and frustration no longer has the same power over you. You see it for what it is, a small, temporary obstacle that you can overcome. To embrace discomfort, you need to shift your mindset. Instead of viewing challenges and frustrations as threats, see them as opportunities to grow stronger. The next time something small frustrates you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow through this? As you embrace discomfort, something incredible starts to happen. You'll begin to realize that frustration often arises from our desire to avoid discomfort or to control outcomes that are out of our hands. The Stoics were well aware of this, and they practiced a powerful method to help with this very thing, differentiating between what's in your control and what's not. When frustration hits, it's often because we're focused on things we simply can't control. We can't control other people's behavior. We can't control the weather, and we can't control the future. And when we try to, we only create stress and frustration. But here's the liberating truth. You can control your response. That's where your power lies. Think about the last time you got frustrated with something or someone. Was it because they did something you didn't like? Was it because things didn't go as you hoped? If you look closely, you'll realize that your frustration wasn't actually about the situation itself. It was about your expectations of how things should have gone. The Stoics teach us that we need to focus on what's in our control: our thoughts, our actions, and our reactions. By acknowledging what you can control, you stop wasting energy on the things that frustrate you and shift your focus to the things that truly matter, like how you respond. This doesn't mean you stop caring about the outcome, but rather that you release the need to control everything. When you let go of that control, you stop carrying the weight of frustration. You start to feel lighter, more at peace, and even more in tune with your inner strength. So the next time you find yourself getting frustrated, ask yourself, what's in my control here? What can I actually do about this situation, and what is beyond my reach? By distinguishing between the two, you'll discover a new level of emotional freedom. You'll no longer be a slave to things you can't change, and you'll feel empowered to take action in the areas that truly matter. Another key Stoic practice for managing frustration is practicing mindfulness in the moment. We often get frustrated because we're stuck in the past, replaying old conversations or mistakes, or we're anxious about the future, worrying about what might go wrong. Both of these take us away from the present moment, where we have the power to make a change. The Stoics were masters at staying present. They understood that the only moment you truly have is now, the present, and that's where your power lies. When we stay in the moment, we stop overthinking, and we stop feeding frustration. It's like when you're driving and you let your mind wander. You can easily lose focus and become tense when something unexpected happens. But when you're completely present, you can respond with clarity, calmness, and wisdom. The Stoics taught that we should approach each moment with awareness, and the best way to do that is through mindfulness practices. These can be as simple as taking a few deep breaths when frustration arises, or pausing to observe your thoughts without judgment. In those few seconds of mindfulness, you create space between your emotions and your actions. Instead of reacting impulsively out of frustration, you can choose how to respond. So next time you feel frustration building, stop for a second and become aware of your breath. Notice how your body feels. Are your shoulders tight? Is your jaw clenched? These are all signs of tension that often accompany frustration. By bringing awareness to your body and breath, you create a moment of pause. This pause allows you to break free from the automatic reactions of frustration and take a more intentional, thoughtful approach. But here's the thing, mindfulness isn't a quick fix. It's something that takes practice. You won't be able to turn off your frustration immediately. But the more you practice being present, the better you'll become at responding with calmness in moments of stress. And over time, this practice will make you less prone to frustration because you'll be more aware of your reactions and able to manage them. Now let's talk about a practice that the Stoics used to reframe their perspective. And it's a game changer, the practice of seeing things from a different angle. When frustration takes over, it's usually because we've become so focused on the problem that we forget the bigger picture. We get stuck in the small details, the inconveniences, and the things that are going wrong. But the Stoics had a unique way of looking at challenges. They often used the technique of reframing, changing the way they viewed a situation. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. Naturally, frustration sets in. You start thinking about how much time you're wasting, how you'll be late, and how it's unfair. Now take a step back and reframe the situation. What if instead of seeing the traffic as an obstacle, you saw it as an opportunity to listen to a podcast, calm your mind, or simply enjoy the silence? By changing your perspective, you shift from frustration to acceptance. You stop fighting reality and begin working with it. Reframing your thoughts like this doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is perfect. It's about taking a step back and asking yourself, how can I view this situation differently? What lesson can I learn here? What opportunity is hidden in this challenge? The moment you reframe, you'll feel the shift in your energy. You stop seeing the situation as something that's working against you, and you start seeing it as something you can navigate, learn from, and even grow through. This is where Stoicism truly shines. It's about empowerment. The Stoics knew that frustration is a natural part of life, But they also knew that how we respond to frustration is what matters most. They weren't trying to avoid difficulties. They were trying to rise above them. And by using these practices, negative visualization, acceptance, gratitude, embracing discomfort, and reframing, they created a life of inner peace, strength, and resilience. And you can too. Let's pause and think about how we often deal with frustration in our daily lives. Maybe it's work piling up, or personal challenges that never seem to end, or even people around you who just don't seem to get it. The frustration builds, and if we're not careful, it takes over. But what if you could change that? What if you could turn frustration into fuel instead of letting it drain you? One Stoic practice that I want to bring up here is journaling. It's simple, but incredibly powerful. When frustration strikes, it's easy to let your emotions dictate your day, to let that tight knot of anger or stress cloud your judgment. Journaling is an excellent way to release that pent-up energy and gain perspective on what's really going on. It's not about writing down every little thing that frustrates you. It's about diving deeper into your feelings, understanding them, and processing them in a constructive way. The Stoics often journaled to reflect on their thoughts and actions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote in his meditations not just about philosophy, but about how he was feeling in the moment, how he was dealing with his own struggles and frustrations. He used his journaling practice to ask himself the hard questions. Why am I frustrated? What am I attaching myself to that is causing me pain? How can I shift my perspective? This type of journaling doesn't need to be complex. You don't have to write a novel. Start small. When frustration hits, write down what you're feeling. What triggered it? What are the emotions behind it? Once you've written it out, ask yourself, can I control this situation? What can I learn from this? How can I use this moment to grow? By getting your thoughts out of your head and onto paper, you can start to create a sense of distance from the frustration. The more you do this, the more you'll begin to realize that frustration doesn't control you. You control how you respond to it. But here's the real beauty of journaling. Over time, you'll start to see patterns. You'll notice what consistently frustrates you, what triggers your stress, and most importantly, how you've grown and adapted to those situations. You'll see how each frustration was actually an opportunity for growth, a stepping stone toward becoming more resilient. This is what the Stoics understood, that frustration, when managed properly, can be a catalyst for change. They didn't shy away from challenges. They didn't ignore their emotions. Instead, they faced them head-on, used them as tools to build their character, and ultimately, they found peace. So if you're serious about managing frustration in your life, give journaling a try. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's an effective way to turn frustration into something valuable. And here's the thing, you don't have to do it alone. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, remember that you're not the only one. We all go through it. But the difference between those who stay stuck in frustration and those who rise above it is their ability to take control of their emotions and learn from their experiences. And here's something else that can really shift your perspective: self-compassion. We're often our own harshest critics, especially when we're frustrated. We judge ourselves for feeling upset or angry, and this judgment only adds to the frustration. But Stoicism teaches us a different approach. Instead of beating yourself up, practice self-compassion. Understand that feeling frustrated doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And instead of criticizing yourself for being frustrated, ask yourself, What do I need in this moment to feel better? How can I support myself through this frustration? Self-compassion is about giving yourself the same kindness and understanding that you would give to a close friend. When you're struggling, instead of berating yourself for your feelings, take a step back and recognize that this is a part of the human experience. Frustration, stress, and anxiety are not signs of weakness. They're signals that you're navigating the challenges of life. By practicing self-compassion, you give yourself the space to feel your emotions without judgment. You stop resisting what's happening and start accepting it. And when you accept it, you allow yourself to process it more effectively. This doesn't mean you ignore the frustration or pretend it's not there. It means you acknowledge it, you give yourself grace, and then you move forward. You create space for healing, and you begin to rise above your circumstances instead of staying stuck in them. Now let's circle back to the idea of embracing challenges as opportunities for growth. We've already talked about reframing, and it's a powerful tool. But let's dive deeper into how you can shift your mindset to truly see challenges as stepping stones. One of the most profound ideas in Stoicism is that life's difficulties are not obstacles. They are part of the natural flow of things. Instead of seeing frustration as something that's happening to you, see it as something that's happening for you. Every challenge, every frustrating moment is an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. Think about it. When you face a difficult situation, you have a choice. You can choose to be defeated by it, or you can choose to use it to build your character. And the Stoics chose to build their character. This mindset shift is transformative. It takes the power away from the external situation and places it back in your hands. Frustration no longer has the power to control you, because you've decided that every frustrating moment is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This is the essence of Stoic thinking. Nothing that happens to you is inherently bad. It's how you choose to respond that makes all the difference. You're not just reacting to life. You're taking charge of how you respond. You're no longer a passive observer of your emotions. You're an active participant, shaping your own reality and using every challenge as an opportunity to become the best version of yourself. And that, my friend, is where true power lies. So as you go through your day, I encourage you to keep these practices in mind. Remember that frustration is not the enemy, it's the teacher. It's an invitation to step up, to rise above, and to embrace the power you have to shape your response to life's challenges. As you reflect on these Stoic practices and how they can help you handle frustration, I want to leave you with this thought. You are not powerless in the face of frustration. You have the ability to transform these moments into opportunities for growth. Every challenge is a chance to practice resilience, to build your character, and to become stronger. So the next time frustration comes knocking, remember that it's not something you have to fight against. It's something you can learn from. And I'm here to remind you that you're not alone in this journey. We're all in this together, figuring out how to navigate life's challenges. If this video resonated with you and you want to continue learning, growing, and mastering these Stoic practices, I invite you to join me on this journey. By subscribing to the channel, you're not just getting access to more videos, you're gaining a community, a group of people who are committed to living a more intentional, resilient life. You'll get more content that dives deep into practical Stoic wisdom, motivational talks, and insights to help you handle whatever life throws at you. It's not just about watching videos, It's about transforming your mindset, your habits, and your life. So if this message spoke to you today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you handle frustration and what techniques you found helpful. And if you found value in this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Your engagement not only helps others find this content, but it also encourages me to keep creating more. Remember, you have the power to shape your response to frustration. You have the power to create the life you want. So let's take this journey together. Keep coming back, stay committed to your growth, and keep learning. I'll be here, sharing insights and encouragement every step of the way. Take care, stay resilient, and I'll see you in the next video.